We see the pivot into Tapu Lele. The opponent stays in, farm up some energy before sending out Ursuna. This bear, one of the thickest mon in the format. If they don't know about that focus blast coverage, they're about to find out. Welcome back to the channel. Buckle up because this one is going to be one hell of a roller coaster of emotions as we have an incredible battle submission for one of our channel members, Ben. Firstly, I'd like to say a huge thank you to all the channel members I've got here on YouTube. I greatly appreciate your support. Today, my friend Ben is going booming in the Open Master League with a sleeper save switch of Tapu Lele running that Hail Mary focus blast. Why run one Tapu when you can run two? Ben has given us that buy one, get one free combination with Tapu Bulu operating in the closer position. He's opted for a Ho-Oh lead. We all know Ho-Oh is an absolute menace. I've always nicknamed it the Firebird of Death, and you already know it's going to bring us that big boom action we're all looking to see. Ben's been running this team for 3 days. He's had nothing but positive sets and managed to climb from 2,250 ELO to almost 2,600. So firstly, congrats for the great climb. And with that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we lead Ho-Oh into Waterfall Primarina. Ben says no thank you. The save switch into Tapu Lele. The opponent gives us a boatload of energy and send out Heatran. Heatran might expect to completely wall us. Well, surprise trainer, we've got Focus Blast. Get that Heatran off my screen and we're already booming in battle number one. Due to Tapu Lele having access to the buffed move of Astonish, it's actually ranked inside PvPoke's top 30 picks for the Open Master League. It's currently the highest ranked Tapu of them all, ranked 29th overall. The recommended moveset for Tapu Lele is Astonish, Nature's Madness and Moonblast. However, I always think you want some coverage on a Pokemon. I think most people opt in for Psy Shock. I didn't even personally know it had access to Focus Blast, and you're going to see today a lot of trainers didn't know either. The opponent opted to save 2 Protect Shields for Mewtwo, hoping it can sweep the back line. Ben sends back out Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele gets farmed down. And this battle is suddenly going to get very dicey. The opponent does us a huge favour, throwing their charge move at really poor timing. They should always look to throw out one quick move at 4 or 7. Can Tapu Bulu survive the Psy Strike? Oof, just about. Tapu Bulu, not the bulkiest, but able to withstand the damage. Bullet Seed farm down, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see another Waterfall Primarina in the lead. This opponent opts to stay in. We again save switch into Tapu Lele, and we see the Protect Shield deployed, blocking up the incoming Hydro Cannon. Ben not messing around, going straight for the Nature's Madness, which the opponent catches onto Togekiss. What the hell is this team? ABA Fairy, potentially triple Fairy. It looks like with the Shuckle Cup currently on, people are just using all the Condamon they've got access to, and I cannot blame them whatsoever, as that little cup is absolute nonsense. Ben obtains himself shield advantage here in the mid game, sends back out Ho-Oh and commits that Incinerate farm down. Back out comes Primarina, and we're YOLOing the Brave Bird. Brave Bird goes unshielded. There's another big boom. The opponent's final Pokemon is Yveltal. Yveltal might think it's the king of the meta this season, but not when faced against the Tapu. The opponent wisely don't shield the first Nature's Madness, but Ben says there's plenty more of where that came from. Bullet Seed generate energy at a pretty alarming rate, 4.33 energy per turn for those of you that want to know the stats. It's actually a grass type clone of the quick move Snarl. Ben saves his Protect Shield Ho-Oh, commits that Incinerate farm down, and we take that game. In the next battle, would you look at that, yet another lost lead. Again, we utilise the Tapu Lele save switch, and out comes Necrozma. In this battle of super effective damage, Tapu Lele certainly going to be favoured. Ben just opts for the one shield, complete farm down, out comes Groudon. We YOLO the Focus Blast. Focus Blast lands for some massive damage, and the opponent is going to be forced to throw. With Tapu Lele winning a switch advantage in this battle, this game should be signed, sealed and delivered. Ho-Oh going to completely wall Groudon. Unless this opponent is a big fan of Home Slice Henry and they've got a Hurricane in this Dragonite, they're going to be completely walled by our Tapu Bulu. As the opponent hasn't top left and they're shielded, I'm actually quite worried we're about to get a Hurricane to the face. Ben also has that fear, going to invest a Protect Shield, and we get baited with a double resisted Dragon Claw. Undeterred, Ben going to fire off the next Nature's Madness, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. I don't even think this is the energy for a Hurricane. The opponent fire off the Dragon Claw, then pivot out into Groudon. We send back out Ho-Oh. The opponent recognises the game's over. They probably could have recognised that around a minute earlier, but it is what it is, and we take that game. Holy cow. Lost lead after lost lead. The opponent, also a man of culture, running Tapu Lele. However, as we've got an energy lead, this potentially is flippable for Ben. Ben does have the health disadvantage, but was able to get the debuff first. Ben looks for the Astonished farm down. Unfortunately, we're unable to get it, and it's a simultaneous KO. Ben waits out his clock, sends out Ho-Oh. We guess right. Holy cow, we're almost running the same team. But Ben guessed right. We're able to take that game, and we're going to move on to the next one. We see the ever menacing Shadow Mewtwo facing off against us. My god, Shadow Mewtwo looks sick when it's facing you, although it's a very scary Pokemon. Ben once again utilises the Tapu Lele safe switch, the opponent reluctant to shield the Nature's Madness, and just look at these Astonishes. The opponent fires off the Play Rough, Tapu Lele withstands the damage, looks for that Astonished farm down, which we get. My god, this thing is a monstrous safe switch. Back out comes Mewtwo. Mewtwo looks to trap us into a charge attack prior event. Ben takes the extra Astonish before firing off the Nature's Madness. That will come with a 100% chance to lower the opponent's defense. The opponent already enough, and they concede the match. In the next battle, we see Zygarde in the lead. This knockoff Optimus Prime looking mofo is very difficult to beat due to its monstrous stat product. Ben banks the Brave Bird for the road, makes the crunch catch onto Tapu Lele, and out comes Duskmane Necrozma. As we already chipped in this battle, this might be the first time in today's video we're unable to force switch advantage. Ben doesn't get switch advantage, but he does obtain a shield advantage in the mid game, and you're always looking to get some kind of advantage. Ben sends back out Ho-Oh to operate as the damage sponge. The opponent fire off the Dark Pulse. They're able to reach the second Dark Pulse. Ho-Oh can survive this, and it looks like Ben willing to save 2 shields for Tapu Bulu. The opponent sends out Rhyperior. This Brave Bird won't do much damage, but my god, is Tapu Bulu going to core break this team? Back out comes Zygarde, Optimus Prime. Might think it's the bulkiest mon in the meta, but it's going to get its defense debuff time and time again. If you want a good reason to run Tapu Bulu, you're looking at it right now. This thing completely walls Zygarde. Earthquake, Crunch, Outrage, you name it, we wall it. They do actually have access to Hyper Beam. Not that anyone's running it, but that would potentially at least hit the neutral. The opponent looked to reset their debuffs, pivoting back out into Rhyperior. We send out Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh lands the Sacred Fire, getting Rhyperior insanely low. Ben able to win the charge attack priority. Looking to move Rhyperior from the field of play with the grass knot. Back out comes Zygarde. Optimus Prime recognises it's game over, and it concedes the match. In the next battle, what else would you expect to see other than a lost lead? The opponent give us a boatload energy, send out Ursaluna, and there's no baiting. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. One of the bulkiest mon in the format near gets one shot, and once again we open up the door to take back switch. Ben able to get the resisted Astonished farm down, and back out comes Primarina. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout. Primarina going to be so sad when we show him Tapu Bulu. Ben goes straight for the Nature's Madness. Nature's Madness forced to protect shield. Is it Rhyperior in the back? Of course it is. Ben not messing around. Going to fire off the grass knot. Looking to punish a no shield. The opponent fucked about. They found out. Booms going off left, right and centre. You've seen the pop-up message. Yet another opponent running for the hills with Ben emerging victorious. Heading into the next battle. We actually win a lead. Well, more of a neutral lead, but we'll certainly take it. The opponent safe switches into Duskmane. We've seen this one play out before. Ben going to go for the one shield. Fully Astonished farm down. That is just ridiculous damage. Astonish is so good this season. The opponent sends back out Dialga. Trainer, you are never double resisted. Dragon Breath farming us down. The first Nature's Madness went unshielded. Tapu Lele running absolutely rampant. Out comes Waterfall Gary, but we've got a wall to that energy in the form of our Tapu Bulu. How long till this opponent top lefts? They tank the Nature's Madness, and there's the pop-up message. The opponent doesn't want the smoke and concede the match. In the next battle, the tough leads continue, which is kind of an ongoing theme in today's video. We build up some energy safe switch into Tapu Lele, and I can't quite believe that bait. A double resisted, non-stab breaking swipe bait. The opponent then catches the Nature's Madness onto Mewtwo. The opponent doesn't commit to a Shadow Ball. Trainer, we might be glassy, but Side Strike simply will not get the job done. Tapu Lele takes back switch. Back out comes Rhyperior, and Rhyperior is also going to be greeted with the Nature's Madness. Nature's Madness does massive damage, and this Rhyperior already finds itself very deep in the red. Ben sends out Tapu Bulu. We've already been baited once. We respect the Rock Wrecker, and again it's a double resisted break-in swipe bait. The opponent then pivot out into Dragonite, and unless this one is running Hurricane, we're going to fully wall him. Ben, not taking any chances, pivots back out into Ho-Oh. I personally think Shadow Dragonite is objectively better than the regular variant. You can see these Dragon Claws really don't do too much. Ben going to be able to survive the next one as well and reach the Brave Bird. Brave Bird should be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent looks for that Dragon Breath farm down. Ho-Oh still not done. Reaches one further Brave Bird. Brave Bird secures the knockout. We send back out Tapu Bulu. Is this finally the Rock Wrecker? Yes, it is, but Rock Wrecker simply doesn't get the job done, and no amount of masturbating saves that opponent. Heading into the next battle. We see Ho-Oh into Dawnwings. Ben builds up some energy before save switching into Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele gonna shield up the Dark Pulse. The opponent then answers our Tapu Lele save switch with Florges. Florges, a very bulky Pokemon. The opponent makes a mistake in my opinion, shielding up the first Nature's Madness, which is never something you want to do when a move has a 100% chance to debuff your defense. In fairness, I actually thought we'd make another Nature's Madness, however we was not able to do so as Tapu Lele isn't the bulkiest and that Moonblast did absurd damage. Ben sends out Ho-Oh, farms up to 100 energy before firing off the Sacred Fire. He goes for the full undercharge, looking to get some more farm, which is a very nice play. Out comes Palkia, and this is the power of Ho-Oh. Despite this being a terrible matchup, Brave Bird would hit for massive damage, so commands the final protection. We pivot into Tapu Bulu, baiting out Dawnwings once again. Dawnwings able to survive the Nature's Madness. This potentially is a Moongeist Beam. The opponent full send the Moongeist Beam. Ben correctly shields up, commits to that Bullet Seed farm down, back out comes Palkia, and Palkia instantly greeted with the Nature's Madness. Nature's Madness isn't quite lethal. However, one Aqua Tail shouldn't knock us out either. It looks like the opponent was trying to double up on charge, and they simply cannot get there, and Grass Knot is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see the two Firebirds of Death flapping away at one another. Both trainers farm up past the Brave Bird. Ben goes for the Sacred Fire bait, which the opponent calls. Is the opponent also going for the more expensive Sacred Fire bait? Yes, they are. The opponent's already seen they lose CMP, so I would have thrown the Brave Bird if I was them as soon as they get it, but once again they place the CMP tie. They do not win. Shout out Home Slice Henry for that quote, and Ben able to win lead. We then see the pivot into our save switch with Tapu Lele to greet this Dialga, and it's interesting the opponent is opting to stay in. Ben gonna invest the first Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming Iron Head. The opponent really needs a pivot or they're in danger of getting farmed down. The opponent recognise they're gonna get farmed down. Send out Dawnwings, but it's simply too little too late. The opponent shields up the first Nature's Madness. Look at the astonished damage. Oh my gosh. This Pokemon is getting deleted in the blink of an eye. Once again, we're going to see an opponent top left. Tapu Lele, you monster. In the next battle, we see the Battle of the Flying Types. I think Yveltal is one of the best shinies in the game. Despite looking like a piece of streaky bacon, the opponent fires off the Oblivion Wing. We withstand the damage. Ben going to return fire with the Brave Bird. Brave Bird forced the Protect Shield. Ben eventually makes the pivot into his save switch of Tapu Lele. We are going to see the Protect Shield deployed, blocking up the incoming Oblivion Wings, and out comes a shiny Duskmane. This Nature's Madness will be resisted, so the opponent doesn't respect the damage, but it does still debuff the opponent's defense. Ben opting for the one shield, Astonish farm down. This is quite a scary play as it now potentially opens up the door for the opponent to land an Oblivion Wing on our Tapu Bulu. The opponent waits out their clock before sending back in Yveltal. Nature's Madness hopefully goes unshielded. The opponent invests that Protect Shield and they are able to Sucker Punch farm us down. Ben's going to need to make a catch. We go for the show and go. We don't reach the Brave Bird. Oh boy, can we survive an Oblivion Wing? Yes, just about. The opponent then send out Rhyperior. Rhyperior is going to get boomed and vanquished back to its Pokeball, but unfortunately this one is going to end in a heartbreaking defeat. GG's to that opponent. In the very next battle, Ben gets his chance at redemption as we see Deja Vu. Last time we lost the Yveltal lead. Let's see if Ben can make some adjustments. He actually opts for the early Protect Shield here, and he is going to fire off the Sacred Fire. Sacred Fire does come with a chance to lower the opponent's attack, which we managed to get. Ben then going to fire off the Brave Bird as the opponent's debuffed. I anticipated him letting it go. The opponent doesn't let it go, but we see the save switch into Tapu Lele. As the opponent's debuffed this time, Ben isn't willing to invest the Protect Shield, and this quite possibly is the same team. Ben commits to the Focus Blast. I can't quite believe we made it, but on 1 HP and a Dream, there's the Focus Blast, boom. And this battle is going a lot better than the last one. Unfortunately, it isn't Rhyperior in the back, but Zacian is good enough. Of course, Ben can never shield this move up. We've got to save that Protect Shield for a potential Oblivion Wing. I'm anticipating the no shield and the pivot back into Ho-Oh. Ben does indeed opt for the no shield. He's actually going to build up some energy before eventually making the pivot back into Ho-Oh. The opponent banks a charge move, then sending Yveltal, but Yveltal going to be straight in and straight out. Brave Bird picks up the knockout and the opponent concedes the match. GG's and very good adjustment. In the next battle, we see Mewtwo in the lead. For optimal timing, the opponent should throw after 7 Psycho Cuts. Ben builds up some energy, save switches into Tapu Lele, and the opponent responds with Tapu Bulu. The opponent was quite slow to switch out, so Ben should be able to control switch advantage by matching Protect Shields. Ben happy to play out the ones. He is going to be able to outpace. Ben actually farms up throws on the charge attack priority. Tapu Lele has a 230 attack compared to Tapu Bulu's 221. Tapu Bulu does have the pacing advantage here, taking only 12 turns to reach Nature's Madness, whereas our Tapu Lele takes 15. I believe with that energy he would have actually reached the next charge move on the charge attack priority, but Ben actually looks to pivot back out into Ho-Oh. The opponent fire off the Nature's Madness, go for the wham bam combo play, pivoting out into Mewtwo. Even with a debuff defense, Ho-Oh able to survive the side strike, fire off the Brave Bird, securing the knockout, and out comes Yveltal. I've just noticed that actually wasn't a combo play. The opponent just didn't wait out their timer, as the opponent only has Yveltal remaining. We've already seen that Tapu Bulu does survive an Oblivion Wing from full health. The opponent beautifully overfarms, but Oblivion Wing simply will not get the job done. Tapu Bulu withstands the damage, reaches the Nature's Madness, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's. In the next battle, we see Xerneas. I can't believe I'm 17 minutes into a Master League shoutcast, and that is the first Xerneas we've seen. The opponent save switches into Ho-Oh, and we respond with Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele can only hit for resisted in this matchup, but it looks like Ben thinks he can flip it. The opponent fire off the Sacred Fire. Thankfully, we don't see the attack drop. Ben gonna go down both Protect Shields here in the mid game. The opponent fire off the Brave Bird, which does debuff their defense. Ben is able to keep switch, however, at the cost of 2 Protect Shields. Back out comes Xerneas. Xerneas going to be greeted with the Nature's Madness. The first one goes unshielded. Tapu Lele able to reach the second one. The opponent might just completely sack this, knowing they're fully walled by Ho-Oh. The opponent not only invested Protect Shield, but also dump energy, which is best case scenario. We send back out Ho-Oh, and it's Yveltal in the back. I think if this opponent saved both Protect Shields for Yveltal, they'd very easily win this game. The opponent throws the Dark Pulse, perhaps suggesting that they've got Focus Blast, as if they had Oblivion Wing, they should have thrown that move, as both cost 50 energy, but Oblivion Wing does hit harder. We see the pivot into Tapu Bulu, even if the opponent does have Oblivion Wing, which apparently they do, it simply doesn't get the job done. Tapu Bulu able to withstand the damage, fire off the Nature's Madness, leaving insanely low. The opponent only gets 1 Geomancy, as they dump their energy earlier. Ho-Oh able to reach the Brave Bird, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's. In the next battle, we see Tapu Bulu in the lead position. Trainer, you need to pivot. Trainer, why are you staying in? Surely if you're going to run Tapu Bulu in the lead, you must have some answers for a fire type, aka Ho-Oh. Or even something like a Solgaleo. Apparently this opponent just going to completely sack their lead. Ben, recognising the opponent must be ABA weak, pivots into Tapu Lele, baiting out Duskmane. ABA weak to Ho-Oh is something I would not recommend running in the Master League. Ben going to be going for the 1 shield, fully astonished farm down, and that Palkia is in so much trouble. Back out comes Palkia. We're going to fire off the first Nature's Madness. They are going to be so sad when we show them our own Tapu Bulu. Our switch timer is up, so it looks like Ben actually is looking not to show his third. We can just force the final Protect Shield with the next Nature's Madness, and then just Brave Bird this Palkia to the face. The opponent recognised, It's pretty unlikely they're able to win that battle, tank the charge move, and we're going to move on to the next one. We see Zacian in the lead. Ben does have to be mindful that a lot of Zacian are running wild charge. Ben builds up some energy, save switches into Tapu Lele, and the opponent does reveal they have got wild charge. The opponent answers our Tapu Lele save switch with Landorus. Landorus greeted with the Nature's Madness. I think potentially Ben could one shield and farm down here, and that looks like exactly what he's looking to do. Landorus, formerly the king of debuffs, getting a taste of its own medicine. Tapu Lele just about able to maintain switch, leaving at a fraction of HP, but with the charge move to bank, Nature's Madness goes unshielded. I wonder if Ben opts for the Bullet Seed farm down. He actually sends out Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh can survive one wild charge, as he doesn't get the same type attack bonus. The opponent fire off that wild charge, then send out Palkia. Palkia greeted with the Brave Bird, which forces the Protect Shield. We show him Tapu Bulu, and this should be checkmate. Everything here will be resisted. Aqua Tail single resisted. Spatial Rend, the better move, is double resisted due to Fairy double resisting Dragon. The opponent chose not to shield up the Nature's Madness. Ben doesn't need to shield this move up. We would survive, but he opts to shield. I guess you've got to shield something. The opponent then pivots back out into Zacian. Zacian going to be greeted with the Nature's Madness. We then see the pivot into Ho-Oh. Getting the snipe back out comes Palkia, and Palkia is going to get resisted, incinerated farm down, and we emerge victorious. In the next battle, we see Rhyperior in the lead. This time, Ben just instantly goes to Tapu Lele. I can't quite believe the last opponent for a break-in swipe. Ben respects the Rock Wrecker. Another opponent throws a double resisted bait, and again, they have no response to this Tapu Lele. Out comes Palkia. Palkia near gets one shot. We've seen Tapu Lele's glassy, but I don't think Aqua Tail is going to get the job done. It does not. We're able to survive, and we flip switch, which means that stupid bait in Rhyperior is going to be along with our Tapu Bulu. Back out comes Rhyperior. Rhyperior invests the Protect Shield, blocking up the Nature's Madness. And hi Rhyperior, meet your worst nightmare, Tapu Bulu. I'd be tempted to call this. Ben agrees, calling the bait, and the opponent full send the Rock Wrecker. Tapu Bulu able to withstand the damage, and the opponent continues to stay in. Tapu Bulu shields up the break as well, commits that Bullet Seed farm down. We are spamming the switch. Out comes Primarina, and we are in a lot of trouble. We will survive this Hydro Cannon. We need the opponent to shield the Brave Bird. They can just about survive this, and they're going to have to tank the damage if they want any chance of winning this game. The opponent shields the Brave Bird, which means we are going to grasp that onto the face and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see our Firebird of Death into Zacian. Ben builds up some energy, save switches into Tapu Lele, once again baiting out Ho-Oh. We've seen Ben was able to flip this matchup, but it cost him 2 shields last time. Ben fires off the Nature's Madness, which doesn't do too much damage, but the defense debuff is very nice, meaning these Astonishes are now doing absurd damage. Ben fires off 3 Astonishes and the next Nature's Madness for optimal fast move timing, and actually able to force a Protect Shield here in the mid game. I don't think shielding is really worth it. Ben agrees, tanking the move. We can just come in, get the resisted incinerate farm down, and leave at so much energy. Ben sends out Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh leaves at 80 energy. The opponent sends back out Zacian, opt to instant throw, giving us a free incinerate. Ben tanks the wild charge, returns fire with the Sacred Fire. Sacred Fire goes unshielded. Get that Zacian off my screen. The opponent's final Pokemon is Palkia. Brave Bird goes unshielded. We show him Tapu Bulu, and the opponent is going to concede the match with Ben picking up yet another very impressive dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. Huge shout out to Ben for bringing us a very fun showcase here in the Open Master League. I don't think I've ever seen so many top lefts or so many big booms. You love to see it. Unfortunately, this team isn't all that accessible, running 3 maxed out legendary Pokemon. Don't worry, we're going to be back at it tomorrow with a more accessible team. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. A link to our battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.